Good evening and welcome to Danny, the Champion of the World, Chapter 8b. First of all, let's say hello to Pesco, who's joined us this evening. There he is, nestling and roosting in the trees. We've also, Rebel has also decided to join us. There he is. Let's give him a clap. Okay, he's taking a bath. Now, if you remember, yesterday when we started Chapter 8, Danny has found his father in Hazelwood, but the only thing is, he's found him right at the bottom of a pit that's been dug by the gamekeepers to catch people. So let's get back to the story itself. Did they dig the hole to catch people? I asked. Yes, he said. I shone my light around the top of the pit and saw how the keepers had covered it with their sticks and leaves, and how the whole thing had collapsed when my father stepped on it. It was the kind of trap that hunters in Africa dig to catch the wild animals. Let's have a look at the picture over there. Do the keepers know who you are? I asked. No, he said. 2 of them came and shone a light down on me, but I covered my face with my arms and they couldn't recognise me. I heard them trying to guess. They were guessing all sorts of names, but they didn't mention mine. Then one of them shouted, "We'll find out who you are all right in the morning, my lad, and guess who's coming with us to fish you out?" I didn't answer. I didn't want them to hear my voice. "We'll tell you who's coming," he said. "Mr. Victor Hazel himself is coming with us to say hello to you." And on the other one said, "Boy, I hate to think what he's going to do when he gets his hands on you." They both laughed and then they went away. Ouch, my poor ankle. So the keepers know that he's down there and they've seen him and they're leaving him there overnight and they're coming back with Victor Hazel in the morning because they know he can't get out. So he's got to get out before daylight. Have the keepers gone, Dad? Yes, he said. They've gone for the night. I was kneeling on the edge of the pit. I wanted badly to go down and comfort him, but that would have been madness. "What time is it?" he said. "Shine the light down so I can see." I did as he asked. "It's 10 to 3, he said. "I must be out of here before sunrise." Dad, I said. "Yeah." "I brought the car. I came in the baby Austin." "You what?" he cried. I wanted to get here quickly, so I just drove it out of the workshop and came straight here." He sat there staring at me. I kept the torch pointed to one side of him so as not to dazzle his eyes. "Do you mean you actually drove here in the baby Austin?" "Yes." "You're crazy," he said. "You're absolutely plumb crazy." "It wasn't difficult," I said. "You could have been killed," he said. "If anything had hit you in that little thing, you'd have been smashed to smithereens." "It went fine, Dad." "Where is it now?" "Just outside the wood on the bumpy track." His face was all puckered up with pain and white as a sheet of paper. "Are you all right?" I asked. He's probably got a bit of shock, his dad. "Yes," he said, "I'm fine." He was shivering all over, though it was a warm night. "If we could get you out, I'm sure I could help you to the car," I said. "You could lean on me and hop on one leg." "I'll never get out of here without a ladder," he said. "Well, wouldn't a rope do?" I asked. "A rope," he said. "Yes, of course. A rope would do it. There's one in the baby Austin. It's under the back seat. Mr. Pratchett always carries a tow rope in case of a breakdown." "I'll get it," I said. "Wait there, Dad." I left him and ran back the way I had come, shining the torch ahead of me. I found the car. I lifted up the back seat. The tow rope was there, tangled up with the jack and the wheel brace. I got it out and slung it over my shoulder. I wriggled through the hedge and ran back into the wood. "Where are you, Dad?" I called out. "Over here," he answered. With his voice to guide me, I had no trouble finding him this time. "I've got the rope," I said. "Good. Now tie one end of it to the nearest tree." Using the torch all the time, I tied one end of the rope round the nearest tree. I lowered the other end down to my father in the pit. He grasped it with both hands and hauled himself up to a standing position. He stood only on his right leg. He kept his left foot off the ground by bending his knee. "Jeepers," he said, "this hurts." "Do you think you can make it, Dad?" "Yeah, I've got to make it," he said. So there he is. There's Danny and his dad. If you can see this down in there, let's see if we can see his dad down in the pit there. And so his dad will slowly pull himself up. I lay on my stomach with my hands dangling down into the pit. I wanted to help pull him out as soon as he came within reach. I kept the torch on him all the time. "I've got to climb this with hands only," he said. "You can do it," I told him. Then he came up hand over hand, and as soon as he was within reach, I got hold of one of his arms and pulled for all I was worth. He came over the top edge of the pit, sliding on his chest and stomach, him pulling on the rope and me pulling on his arm. He lay on the ground, breathing fast and loud. "You've done it," I said. "Whew. Just let me rest a moment, Danny." I waited, kneeling beside him. "All right," he said. "Now for the next bit. Give me a hand, Danny. You'll have to do most of the work from now on." I helped him to keep his balance as he got up onto his one good foot. "Which side do you want me on?" I asked. "On my right," he said. "Otherwise you'll keep knocking against my bad ankle." I moved up close to his right side and he put his hands on my shoulders. "Go on, Dad," I said. "You can lean harder than that on me." "Shine the light forward so we can see where we're going," he said. I did as he asked. He tried a couple of hops on his right foot. "All right?" I asked him. "Yes," he said. "Let's go." Holding his left foot just clear of the ground and leaning on me with both hands, he began to hop forward on one leg. I shuffled along beside him, trying to go at exactly the speed he wanted. "Say when you want to rest." "Oh, now," he said. We stopped. "I've got to sit down," he said. I helped to lower himself to the ground. His left foot dangled helplessly on its broken ankle, and every time it touched the ground he jumped with pain. I sat beside him on the brown leaves that covered the floor of the wood. The sweat was pouring down his face. "Does it really hurt terribly, Dad?" "It does when I hop," he said. "Each time I hop it jars me." He sat on the ground resting for several minutes. "Let's try again," he said. I helped him up and off we went. This time I put an arm round his waist to give him extra support. He put his right arm round my shoulders and leaned on me hard. It went better that way. But boy was he heavy. My legs kept bending and buckling with each hop. Hop, hop, hop. "Keep going," he gasped. "Come on, we can make it." "There's the hedge," I said, waving the torch. "We're nearly there." Hop, hop, hop. When we reached the hedge, my legs gave way and we both crashed to the ground. "I'm sorry," I said. "It's okay. Can you help me get through the hedge?" I'm not quite sure how he and I got through that hedge. He crawled a bit, I pulled a bit, and little by little we squeezed through and out the other side onto the track. The tiny car was only 10 yards away. We sat on the grassy bank under the hedge to get a breather. His watch said it was nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. The sun would not be up for another 2 hours, so we had plenty of time. Shall I drive?" I asked. "You'll have to," he said. "I've only got one foot." I helped him hop over to the car, and after a bit of a struggle, he managed to get in. Let's take Danny's rope off him. Danny's dad's rope off him. Let's put him on the car. So they've made it back through Hazel's Wood, back to the hedge, and they've got through the hedge, and now they're getting back in the baby Austin. So they've got Danny's dad has suddenly gone bald, but no, he's got his hair back. There he is. There's Danny's dad. So we've got Danny's dad in there. And, hang on. There we are. And Danny as well. So now they're going to drive back, hopefully, with Danny at the wheel. Wow, imagine driving your dad when you're 9 years old. "The rope," I said. "We left it behind." "Forget it," he said. "It doesn't matter." I started the motor and switched on the headlamps. I backed the car and turned it round, and soon we were heading downhill on the bumpy track. "Go slowly, Danny," my father said. "It hurts like crazy over the bumps." He had one hand on the wheel, helping to guide the car. We reached the bottom of the track and turned onto the road. "You're doing fine," he said. "Keep going." Now that we're on the main road, I changed into second gear. Rev her up and go into third. Will they make it? Will they make it back in time? Find out tomorrow.